I think people tend to not know how much prep work there is. So today we primed the wall. We did a bunch of coats of primer to just kind of like whitewash the wall and get it sort of like as a blank slate. And so as you can see, it's just like there's nothing happening right now, but tomorrow pretty much start in on the background. I have a lot of stress leading up to it, and then once you actually like open the paint can and like really start, it kind of dissipates and there's like an overall piece that descends on you. Especially here, it seems very removed, and yet when you got the lift, all of a sudden you peek up over the roof and there's the city. It's crazy. In describing the technique that I use for most of like the figure drawing that I do is created entirely out of handwritten text. So it's like larger and smaller versions of a large script that I'll write where they become really dense or they become really airy to describe light and shadow in any of the figures. When you step back, you kind of don't see it, it disappears, it melts into the figure. And then when you come closer and you sort of investigate, there's all this like layered information. So the idea of like a visual language and then a written language and being able to stick those two things together. When I came upon the San Francisco city seal, like their emblem, it's an interesting image that, you know, speaks to the history of the area. It has like the bay waters with a fisherman, and then it has like rolling hills with a miner digging, you know, gold out of the earth. So I kind of made like a contemporary reimagining of that symbol. On the right side, you can see here, there's like the bay waves, and then on the left side, there's like these rolling hills. There's a silver rope with a symbolic fisherman that's pulling something into the shore. And then on the left side, there's a piece of gold that's being like risen. And in the center, there's this Dahlia that both of those figures are emerging from, which is representational of diversity, because there's so many petals in a Dahlia, and they sort of like branch out that create one flower. So it's kind of like the people of the city, you know, the various like histories of people from Asia, people from Europe, people from, you know, South America and Mexico that have all kind of converged on the city. I've seen a lot of the guests come and go, and a lot of the guests are like international. I kind of hope that this can be sort of like a lifting off point for them to like go explore the city, and that with experiencing a piece of art like in the center of the hotel that inspires people to look closer at the world. We're about a week in. I think at this stage I'm about like 40% done. Like we got 60% more to do. Kind of on schedule, you know. It's just the weather, man. And then the lift broke, and then some other things. You just putting out some fires. The sun came out and it wasn't supposed to rain, and then I started painting, and then all of a sudden it started dumping rain, and all the paint that I had done in the last like, I don't know, 45 minutes all started dripping down the wall, and I had to like clean it up with like all these towels. That was like a pretty tough moment, and then it was just like oh. They finally opened the courtyard, and all these little kids came out, and they're like playing in the courtyard. They're like playing all around me. And this one little girl was just like, wow, and then just stood there and watched me for like 10 minutes. All the other kids were like playing in the courtyard, and she was like super transfixed and just like watching. To inspire like a little kid like that is pretty cool. It's weird to like now be like done and somewhat removed from it. Now it's like it takes it on its own life. I made it, but it's like when you have a kid, and you're just like, you know, there you go. You made this kid, but then you like watched it grow up, and then you like send it out into the world, and I mean, it's gonna do what it's gonna do, you know, and I don't have any control over it anymore.